Hi, I'm Danielle Lenard.
And I'm Jon-David Lenard. Welcome to Lenard Team Connections.
After more than 30 episodes, I can't believe it. We've arrived at the finale of our first season. When we started this, we already had so much love for our community. Over the last few months, though, we have been blown away by our guests and further inspired.
Especially during a difficult time of uncertainty. As you said, it's been inspiring, and we hope that as we've been learning more about the community, our viewers have found new reasons to love where they live.
So today, the tables are being turned on us, and as we welcome back our friend Krista Marucheau from Pita Pit to interview us about our experience hosting season 1 of Lenard Team Connections.
And let's be clear, this was Krista's idea.
Yes, this was her baby, her idea. And when we wanted to do something a little special for the last show, of course, here we are.
Yeah, so when we get to the interview portion, it's her show. But first, let's get to some of the good Long Island news that we love so much.
Yes.
At a time when so many businesses are hurting from the pandemic, one contractor performed a miracle for a Suffolk County family. Lance and Debbie Levy's 25-year-old son, Ben, was born with cerebral palsy, and one of his favorite activities is walking in the pool, which he can do independently. Ben's family planned to have an improved deck built for him to more easily enter the pool, and Dominic Lacitignola, the owner of Hope Custom Builders, recently designed the perfect deck and only charged the family for materials. Needless to say, we're touched.
Yeah, that's amazing. Dylan Pigot, a Baldwin High School student, is the winner of the Walt Whitman Birthplace Association 34th Annual Student Poetry Contest. 2020 for his category, which the 11th grade individual poetry anthology is his category. This contest celebrates creative work of students and teachers, and the theme of this year was tied to 2020 being a leap year. Congratulations, Dylan.
So leap year? I didn't even know.
Yes, it's an election year and a leap year. They always come together.
They always come together. Got it.
It used to be the Olympics too, but then they messed that up with the 2 years, everything.
Got it. Well, thank you, Thomas Jefferson, for that. One mom got a very special surprise when her son, who flew 2,500 miles, showed up at her workplace to visit. You can see it in the video that she took a minute to recognize him, but it was
probably like, what?
It was clearly a special reunion for both mother and son. Roll tape.
Virginia to San Diego to surprise his mom at the restaurant where she works. It took her a minute to realize that it was him.
Oh.
By the way, that's how you do it. That's how you show your mom how much you really missed her.
I love it. She's like, oh, I know you.
I know. Cute. Second.
Beautiful. So at any rate, once again, if you have a good news story from around the island, we're taking a break, but we're going to be back probably sometime in September. We'll see. But share in the comments below or reach out to us directly. We really want to highlight the wonderful people all around this community that lift us up and make us better. So we'd love to feature it in our kickoff season 2.
Super awesome. And now we want to welcome back Krista Marucheau, the owner of Pita Pit Hauppauge. We've had Krista on the show before, but today, we're the ones in the hot seat. We're such a big fan of Pita Pit. In fact, just having her on is making our mouths water because we're thinking of her delicious food. Her story herself also, it centers around your family and all that you do for the community, which is awesome.
Before we begin, though, please be a part of the show. We'd love to hear from you in the comments. In addition, if you've been watching, share what you like, share some of your favorite moments, and we can celebrate what this together. So At any rate, Krista, thank you for pushing this. You've pushed us to do this. This is your baby, and glad to have you here. And now the floor is yours.
I'm excited. I love you guys. You know that. You've done how many episodes? Over 30? I'm mind blown that you guys have taken the time out of your days in this pandemic we're in, to sit and interview people that, honestly, from watching your show, because I watch it all the time, I'll leave the Pita Pit floor and like quickly go back to Facebook, and I'm like, oh God, someone's at the register. But watching your show, I've learned about business owners that I knew nothing about around here, or community organizations that I'm like so eager to get involved with now from watching your show. So that's why I figured I know nothing about you guys, and I don't think the viewers really know anything about the Lenard team. So what a great idea to finally have you guys in the hot seat, as you said. And let's find out a little bit about you guys. What's your blood type?
A positive, I think. No,
you're O. I'm B positive.
That really wasn't part of the question, but hey, you're honest.
Now you know.
I know it. So let's start with like why you guys started the Lenard Team Connection. I'm a family business, and you guys I thought you guys were married when I first met you, but clearly that's not the case. So why don't we clear that up for some viewers on who you guys exactly are, and what made you start the Lenard Team Connections? Whose idea was it?
So first of all, we get that a lot, married.
Because we don't look alike.
Well, ever since, I mean, we were I was 15. You're 5 years older.
You were 16 and I was 21.
I was 15.
And we were on a
cruise ship, and everybody kept
asking us if we were on our honeymoon.
Kept congratulating us. So now as the tables are turned, you're going to start to see like the brother-sister thing really come out. But I'm pretty sure I was 15 and people were coming up to us and congratulating.
You were definitely 16 because I was able to drink and you couldn't.
Although
you weren't getting carded and I was.
Oh, yeah. Danielle, you're the older?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that either. I don't know.
Yeah, but people don't know that. People think you're older.
Yes, I know. It's the gray hair. So anyway, back to. I hope this was a good idea. Getting back to our interview. So, so we grew up in this business. We're both second generation real estate agents. We grew up in the Smithtown area. That although we do real estate all over the island, we have a special place in our heart, obviously, for where we grew up. And look, we want to see Smithtown grow and prosper and maintain a lot of what makes it such a wonderful place to live and
also the island in general.
And the island in general. I mean, so my wife is from Minnesota, and we had to just choose between Minnesota and Long Island. Turns out she loves Long Island, the beaches, there's things to do. And so we settled back here after college and after a bit of travels. You basically after college came back here, and it just made sense. The being in this business, this is real estate.
Where that happened last time too.
Yeah. So real estate is like a lifestyle. Like it's not something you turn the lights on and off as just happened to you. It's really a lifestyle, and we realized that it got into our veins. It became part of our vernacular. It became what we knew. So when it became time to have a career, like we had already had become like really versed in it.
Yeah, because we basically grew. Our dad started selling real estate in 1985, and he right out of the gate was like a top agent. And then our mom, he was so busy, he drew our mom in. And then after college, I didn't know what I wanted to do for a minute. So I was like, oh, I'll go work for dad for a little bit. And then it turned out to be exactly what I wanted to do. So it was kind of perfect. And then Jon-David joined us. So now we've been a family team for a long time now.
Yeah, which is now growing into a much bigger team.
Exactly.
That with people that don't necessarily have our last name. And which is really exciting. Really exciting because we're taking a lot of what we learned from our father in providing a 5-star level of service. Level of like always upping our game and maintaining a level of professionalism to help the consumer. And with that, like good things will happen. And now we're like expanding that and bringing new people in to be able to service more people, because our goal is that everybody on Long Island actually has a positive experience with real estate. And that's our dream.
Well, and that's what I love about you two. And you're not just those realtors that are just realtors. You know what I mean? Hence the Lenard Team Connections. What made you start wanting to get to know local businesses, and whose idea was it? Don't take credit if it wasn't your idea.
So basically on March 22nd, real estate shut down.
Yeah.
So unless anything was already done in the works, it was, everything just shut down. And we're sitting there going like, now what do? We can work on the deals that we have, but now what? And my brother came up with the idea to have the show. And he said, what do you think about doing this? It's going to be good news. Everything's bad news right now. It's something we can do, to help the community and frankly, to keep ourselves busy.
Yeah, really. So we came to a standstill.
It was a win-win.
And everybody watching can relate to the fact that the first 2 weeks were probably the scariest time. Like everything was just so new. We're in lockdown, totally new experience in the world for anybody. And I'll be honest, I mean, maybe part of it was selfish in having something to keep my brain moving, right? And have something to focus on. So it became a mission and we're like, let's do it. But I guess I couldn't have imagined how much positive was going to come out of it.
I definitely don't think that we could have imagined what this became.
Yeah.
Like it definitely was bigger than we thought it would be.
And
neither of you really thought you'd be interviewing people. That wasn't, your whole goal of starting a.
It was okay. So as I said, it was maybe somewhat because like all motives have somewhat like you do something because it feels good, right? So it seemed like something that would feel good, but always in the beginning, it just made sense to spotlight the people because early on you could see that there were certain people that were rising above and starting to like say, all right, this is where we're at, and we're gonna do something. We're gonna feed frontline workers. We're gonna have frontline workers that are bravely going out there in a world of uncertainty and it's scary. And it just seemed
like legends. Like who knew that the nighttime workers weren't getting food? He found out that the nighttime workers weren't getting food and provided that.
Yeah.
So I mean, it was just instead of sitting home like scared, it was something to focus our energies on and to help other people maybe who were home scared and still home scared, to see that there's so much bad news on the news.
I love what you guys do. The beginning of your show is phenomenal because you're not only touching base with your, local community. I mean, it's hitting all Long Island. You find those stories that just literally, I was watching and it brings a smile. Like you can't even hide the smile. You know what I mean? Because the stories you guys find are just things that aren't all over the media. You only see the bad, like you said, and it's like a shame because there's a lot more good out there than there is bad, and they need to start highlighting that. And that's why I love what you guys are doing. But I do have a question now. Over the 30 interviews that you've done, besides me being one of your favorites,
of course, goes without saying,
what would you say, or who would you say, or what type of industry would you say was your best interview? Which one did you learn maybe the most from that you didn't know, like legends? Where would you go with that?
It's tough. Every interview had something to offer. It's really tough to choose one. I'd say probably Mitch Robinson was the one we laughed the hardest in.
Yes, that's true.
But I mean, like how many interviews that like I try not to think of myself as a crier, but literally how many times did I cry this season?
Oh, the one with mom.
That
I'm gonna have to go with that was my favorite interview.
That's an easy. That's a softball. Like.
But I didn't know I was gonna start to cry at the end and then get everybody else starting to cry. I didn't know that was gonna happen. Let's be honest, like a lot of the emotional stuff, especially for me personally, like around the seniors and stuff like that was a big one. That was a big crier moment for me. But I think in the beginning when everybody didn't know about the PPP and the SBA and PPE and all these letters, I think having people on to really help. Oh my God, and you doing the masks with Chris Fitz, that was huge.
Yeah. So that's one of the things. I mean, we've had Chris Fitz on a couple times. We've known her for a long time, but I don't think we had the level of communication and connection that this has brought to us. I have to highlight her especially. I mean, if you've watched the show, she and the Smithtown Children's Foundation as a whole, and Jennifer O'Brien and others are they're mentioned all the time. but Chris has helped out behind the scenes in ways that really has, if we can call this show a success, she's been a huge part of that success. Yeah. And through the show, through her help, being able to raise $7,000 for PPE was huge. And if that's a legacy of the show, I think if nothing else ever happens, that is to me the success.
That's awesome. I love that. What have you both learned really from doing this?
You know what I learned? That there's really a lot of good people out there, and that people want to help people more than not. And that in the face of some really dark times, people rose up and shone the light.
Yeah. I would say probably what I've learned is that's like an external, and I guess I could point to a lot of external, but just to say something like internally that I've learned is that there wasn't a lot of thought behind this. Yeah. It was kind of like inspiration and like, let's just go. I mean, Danielle and I, we do video for our business, right? So it wasn't alien to us, and we're like, how can we contribute? But beyond that, it was just, let's just go, right?
Yeah, we didn't. I think that's a good point. Like, it wasn't like, okay, let's really think this through. Let's do. It was just like, how do we do his idea? Yes. Now what?
And so when you have something that feels right and you act upon it, and it becomes something more than you could ever have like really anticipated, that's what I've learned. I mean, more people. I think, what was it? The farmer, what was his name? Said that he never, and this was really inspirational for me. And this was like one of the last episodes we had, where he was talking about how he ended up urban farming, and he was never really part of his map, his plan. It was just something that he pursued because it seemed right for him, and he found meaning in that. And I think to some extent, like, that's similar to the show. Like, we just decided to do it and do it for what we think are the right reasons.
Well, it was the right reasons, and you definitely put a light on, like I said, businesses that we were struggling at the time. So you helped to highlight that. You know, I think it's great. I love you guys. I can't say that enough. But one question you asked, I noticed most of your interviews, you asked us who inspired us to do what we do. So who inspired you over the last 30 episodes that you guys have interviewed? That's been a question that comes up a lot. So now, what's your inspiration?
Oh man, my friend. I mean, what we're doing. I mean, let's not let this be too self-congratulatory. What we're doing, I think, is pretty cool. But there are people out there like really rolling up their sleeves and doing amazing things, in my opinion. You know, my friend Andrew, who's an ER doctor, who gave me inspiration early on to highlight the efforts of the nurses and the people on the front lines. All I want to do is actually, which is awkward for me, because like we're on the hot seat right now, but my whole goal was to turn, my inspiration was to turn the spotlight on everybody else. So all those people, the people that we're talking to, I hope if you're watching this, like, you're as inspired as we genuinely are inspired when we're talking to them, because that's why we do this. So
it's just making me think too, like how, because I have to say there wasn't one guest that wasn't inspirational. Everybody had something to share and add, from working out, like to the accountant, to Steve Barnes, to Elliot Levine with the SBA loans.
Yeah, I mean, that was critical to
Gina. Like, I loved when she did the raffle, not raffle, the nominated people who were making a difference.
That was one of my favorite episodes.
With the gift cards, and to be a part of that. I mean, there were some really phenomenal. Shannon doing the work, doing the Zumba. Just there was her daughter with her beautiful photos.
The list goes on. I mean, we could go through every single episode. The bottom line is another unintended consequence, if I could say, Krista, is like look at how we are now connected, right? And everybody that's been on the show. It's almost like we're like a little alumni, because I can call Gina Mazzola, Gina, how's it going? And I feel, and there's now this connection, because it's almost like we went through this together and we all helped each other out.
And you realize how welcoming everyone really is too. That I know when I first started the business, I was scared to go up to another business owner because I'm like, they don't want to tell me anything. They don't want to talk to me. And that's a lie. People they do want to talk to you. They want to befriend everybody. Sometimes it might take a little bit of an initiation of who's going to first initiate it. But once you do, it's really amazing that, like you said, I've met so many people. I have phone calls, I can easily just, hey, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Want to go outside tonight?
Not to turn the tables back around, but how long are you in business for?
I know, since December. Not too long.
You came into this just in time for this hot mess, and you found a way to come through, and so far so good.
But it's because of people like you and Jen and Chris that are so welcoming. If you guys weren't welcoming, I would probably still be at the front counter like crying, not knowing what I'm going to do. But there's always somebody that's around that you can lean on, and again, are so welcoming and want to be there and keep saying, I'm a phone call away. Anything I can help you with, I can help you, So that's just, this community is great. Absolutely phenomenal.
Actually, I have to say, I think you're right. That's the thing we learned the most in all of this, is how, I'm going to use your words, welcoming, how everybody really is in it. Like, so many people came together, in these scary, trying times to make a difference. So.
Like it's easy to be cynical about things and say, this business just wants to make money, and this business, and when there's no face, when you don't know the small owner in your community who's just trying to make it, get by, and build something. It's easy to draw conclusions, make assumptions, but when you put a name to a face, like one business that we were really hoping to have on the show, and maybe in the future, is the owners of La Familia in Smithtown.
Yeah,
like they've done so much, and they make really good food too. So, but
they did do a lot. They fed a lot of people.
And
No questions asked.
And the signs of support when you drive by and see them. But yeah, I mean, I don't know.
All right. Well, let's ask one last question before we wrap it up.
Okay.
What are your plans for the next few months when you take a break? And what can we look forward to for season 2? You guys better not be gone for too long, because like I said, I like leaving the counter to quickly come back in my office, see what's going on the team.
I appreciate that. So again, we never, if you would have told us in the beginning, we thought, again, let's go back a little bit, not too much, because I don't want to dwell there in the past, but we thought it was going to be 2 weeks, and then, all right, it'll pass, and then everything's going to go back to normal, right? So to imagine that we were going to be at 30 plus episodes is mind-boggling. It's bonkers to me. But now that it seems like this could be a thing, we need to reassess. Like, how can we make it better? What more can we bring? How can we improve the value proposition that we're bringing to the community, and continue to keep it fresh and interesting? And so we're just going to take some time to really think through that. And if you have recommendations, if you have ideas of how it can be better, we're open. We wanted this to truly represent the community and the greater Long Island area that we love so much.
Yeah. Well, people need to drop comments below and give suggestions of businesses or organizations so that we can keep it exciting and
even if anybody has any suggestions on the format, stuff like that, how we can.
COVID will be gone and you can go live with people, like up close and personal.
I know. I have to say that was one thing that was exciting, because we're siblings, so we've been together longer than
Yeah.
And
so getting to do this together instead of being in our own houses, that was a pretty exciting.
Yeah.
And look, at the same time, it requires a certain commitment as far as capital to do this. It's not free, even though we're broadcasting free, the behind the scenes. So, one thing I would love to have in the future is to have like a correspondent, somebody that is like, can go to your restaurant, interview you, and then we have it play on the show. Like, that's one thing that I think could really bring a new dimension to the
I
show.
like that idea.
I know. Well, if
Yeah.
you want to be a free correspondent, because we're not getting paid either.
I know.
Well, I would say we're not getting paid monetarily, but I do have to say that especially when we're done with this, when we're done with any given episode, we walk away like just feeling like positive,
Yeah,
and good vibes.
I'm
and
just
stuff
kidding
like
around. Of
that.
course,
I
this is a
know.
show about karma.
Yeah. And you'd be surprised, after my episode aired with you guys, a few people came in and said, I didn't even know you were here, but I watched the Lenard team, so you guys are being viewed and people do know your name. So that's great to keep it in the community. And we are very fortunate to know you. And we're fortunate to, you guys enjoy the pit. And I'll be here all day.
Yeah.
But I appreciate it. And on behalf of all 30 people you guys interviewed, I'm pretty sure that I could say thank you. And we definitely appreciate it. And anytime we can help you out with anything, we are all a phone call away. So we thank you.
Our order could be ready in 15 minutes. That'd be great.
Thank you for cutting through that and making me laugh, because here I go again, getting teary-eyed. Thank you, Krista.
I appreciate it, guys. Don't get teary-eyed.
No.
Stop.
So I'm going to take this since you're.
I'm fine.
It's usually me getting you going.
I know. Well, I'm okay.
Okay. So, we would love to know what has been anybody else's favorite episodes. Please continue to let us know what you like, what you think we can change. We look forward to connecting with more awesome people like Krista and everybody else in the 30 plus episodes who are supporting our community in season 2.
And one more thing before we sign off.
Yes.
I want to thank you, anybody out there, and everybody out there who's watching, who's been a fan of the show. Thank you so much. We do it for you, and we would love to have your continued support. Please reach out anytime. We're here, and enjoy your summer, and we will see you back probably in September. Thanks, Krista.
Thanks, guys.